Dear children, let us begin with another chapter from novel A Tale of Two Cities. Chapter number 7, The Revolution in France. In the previous chapter, you have seen Lucy and Charles Dane both got married over there. So many years had passed since Lucy and Charles' marriage. Now they had a daughter, little Lucy, who was the apple of their eyes and darling of all the faithful visitor to the little house in Soho. So in these lines, many years passed after their marriage, and now they both have a daughter who was very loving to all, and the visitor, those who visit to their house. Nothing gave them more pleasure than the sound of her little feet running to them and her innocent laughter. So the running of this little Lucy gave more pleasure to them. The little feet with which she was running, and was as well as the laughter, the innocent laughter in the eyes of that girl, little Lucy, that give pleasure to everyone. Sydney Carton was the least frequent visitor. So the visitor, they mostly visit, but Sydney Carton, he was the least. Very rarely he used to come their house. Yet he came regularly about 6 times a year and visited quietly with them. So only in a year he visited 6 times in their house. Little Lucy was very fond of him despite his rough exterior. So rough exterior means his outer experience. In the previous chapter you have seen that he was quite dirty kind of person. So little Lucy was very fond of Sydney Carton, though he had a rough exterior. He was the first stranger to whom she held her plump little arm to be lifted and held. So he was the first. Okay, Sydney Carton was the first around whom little Lucy put her little arms. Next, it was a late one night in mid-July of the year 1789. Now the story shifted to the year of 1789, round about little Lucy's 6th birthday. So it was near about the little Lucy's 6th birthday was there. Mr. Lorry arrived from Tellson's Bank and sat with Charles and Lucy in the dark window looking out onto the large plane tree in the garden. The old gentleman was visibly preoccupied. So Mr. Lorry, he visited to Charles and Lucy. They both were sitting in the dark window and looking out in the garden. Old gentleman, Dr. Manette, he was visibly preoccupied, means he was absorbed in his thoughts. So things are bad in Paris, very bad. Our French customers are sending us as much of their money as they can. So these words are spoken by Mr. Lorry. He's talking to Lucy and Charles. That's not a good sign. So these words are spoken by Charles. That is not a good sign if the people from French, they are sending less money. You have no idea, dear Charles, and told him that you have no idea what condition is going on there in the France. That's why the people, they are sending less money. The same morning, July 14th, the district of Saint Antoine in Paris was like a boiling pot ready to overflow. So on the same day, in the district of Saint Antoine in Paris, the people, they revolted, and the situation was very bad over there. So they were very hot, means they were in quite angers, and they were ready to overflow, means they were there in that condition. They could attack on anyone. It was as if a mass of scarecrow. So this word scarecrow, they were the very old poor people, thin they were. So they had come out into the streets carrying knives, sticks and guns, anything that could kill or injure. So they all have started revolting in the France. They were the people, those were belonging to the poor. Okay, they were belonging to the families of the peasant, those who have grown very thin because of the poverty. So anything that could, means they were there in the streets with their material with which they could kill any one of them. So Defarge himself was at the head leading on them. So Defarge was the head of these all revolutionaries. So students, in this picture you can see how Defarge is leading the mob and his wife Therese also, Madame Defarge, how they are leading the revolt in the France, and the people, they are carrying the different type of tool for killing the higher authorities. So here, keep near Jacques 3, Jacques 2, Jacques 1. 1. Put yourself at the head of these patriots. Where is my wife? So these words are spoken by Mr. or Defarge. So as you know, he was leading the patriots. So here he is inquiring about his wife, and keep near. He's telling them to be close. Jacques 2, 3, 1. Okay, Madame Defarge appeared in the doorway in the cafe, an axe in one hand and a pistol and a long knife tied in a belt around her waist. So this was the condition of Madame Defarge, how she was carrying the different types of tools like pistol, long knife. These showing the sign how they were causing a revolt in France. Her expression was, as always, cold and determined, no feeling at all. Seeing his wife, Defarge waved to the rest of the party, so moved his hand. So let us march ahead. He gave the sign to rest of the party. Come then, patriot and friends, we are ready. To the Bastille, the roaring area of people swinging their weapons in the air, beating drums and ringing bells, pushed forward an unstoppable angry mass, where when they reached the hated Bastille, the prison guards fired their guns and cannons at them, but the roaring tidal wave of the humanity stormed on at Defarge's command. So here you see how they were moving. Okay, so here when they saw the prison, when the guards, those who were there in the prison, when they saw large mass of people, they were arriving the Bastille, the prison of Bastille, they started firing with their guns and the cannons. Okay, but the roaring tidal of the wave of humanity stormed on Defarge's command. But the people, those who were waiting for the Defarge's command, they were moving very fast in an angry way. They were roaring, they were shouting, work, comrade, work, work, work. Jacques 1, Jacques 2, Jacques 1000 and 2 in the name of people. So as I already told you, these were the revolutionaries, the scarecrow, the other peasant. They all were the revolutionaries. They gathered, and he told them to work. He was giving them command. Work means just attack on them, on the guards. Not far from Defarge, his wife heading a wild group of women. Defarge was there on the side of men, and the wife of Defarge, she was leading the women. Charged the wooden door that led into the prison. They all attacked on the wooden door which was leading to the prison with axe and hammers. The raging mob soon smashed a hole in the door big enough for a man to get through. So with all the weapons, all the tools, they made this angry mob soon smashed a hole. They cracked a wall, and then they get into the prison. Soon a white flag rose. The prison guard had surrendered. Shrieks were heard everywhere. When the guards, they saw a large number of people they were attacking, so they showed the white flag. Okay, so white flag is the symbol that is shown for the peace over there. Means to say guards did not want any fight over there, so they rose the white flag over there. So prisoners, they had surrendered, and shrieks were heard everywhere. The prisoners, the records, the secret cells, the instrument of torture. So these all things they were calling. Defarge and the other revolutionaries, they were recalling about these things. The prisoner, those who were there, those who were put behind the bars, the records of them, the secret cells, as well as the instrument of torture with which these revolutionaries, their relatives, they were tortured over there. Defarge was making his way up the stone stairs as prison officers were making their way down, terrified that the bloodthirsty crowd would tear them to pieces. Defarge grabbed one by the neck and pulled him to the side here. So Defarge, he was making the way to the stone stair. He was rising up as the prison officers they were making, and prisoner officers, out of fear, they all were coming down over there, because the crowd, they have become bloodthirsty. Okay, so here means when they were moving, so Defarge caught one of the guard and pulled him down to one side. Show me the north tower now. Yes, yes, cried the officer, shaking with fear. So he asked to show him the way to the north tower. The officer agreed because he was shaking with the fear over there.